The path to 5D is only found when you overcome fear. Hi, this is Dr. Anita with another diamond moment. The diamonds of our lives are produced through time, heat, and pressure, but it's going to be up to you to gather the information in your experiences, put them together in order to grow. If these messages have enlightened or helped you in any way, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. I would like to hear from you. We've been talking about the dimensions of spiritual development and growth. We talked about the fact that the natural world that we live in is termed as 3D. It is linear. It begins at birth, moves through life, and ends for many at death. When I'm saying that, I'm talking about a spiritual understanding, a conscious understanding of growth and learning. Anytime we're in a 3D environment, it takes something to cause us to question where we are in order to begin to move into that dimension of challenging where we've been. Once we get to the point of successfully challenging these limiting thoughts and ideas, we're at the process of moving from 3D into a more spiritual level of understanding, of consciousness, of being, of moving, of relating to others, and of seeing our lives in a way that we've never seen it before. The fifth dimension lies in a spiritual realm where we understand our connection, we understand who we are, what we are. We are spiritual beings having an experience here in this 3D world. That experience can be enhanced as we move from 3D to 4D, challenging, limiting ideas and understandings in order to move into a higher state of being in the fifth dimension or 5D spiritual environment. When we look around us and we're able to find that maybe we've been held back in fear, maybe we've been taught a terminology that says any viewpoint, any opinion, any experience that I have, if it doesn't fit within this very limiting parameter, that is something wrong with that. I need to be afraid of that. I need to start binding and casting down and all of that. You guys who come from a part of the Christian experience, then you understand what I'm saying. Everything is connected to something that is malevolent, and anything that challenges the status quo is to be quelched, is to be put down. It's an insurrection against your faith. You are no longer a person of faith. We're taught to fear knowing what's going on around us. Keep your head in the sand, and a particular person will tell you what you're supposed to think. As we deconstruct these limiting beliefs and as we deconstruct the limitations of our previous foundational beliefs, we're able to move beyond a 3D, beyond a 4D, and hopefully come into contact with that fifth dimension. If you haven't done so, go back and listen to the episodes that we've done regarding how do you hear God? Understanding that we're spiritual beings, that we're connected to an energy source. All of us who have life in these bodies are connected to that source. It's whether or not we've been taught to be afraid to hear our own inner man that determines whether or not we're able to move from that 3D world of fear to a 4D world of challenging, to a 5D world of waking up to who you are, to what you are, to where you are, and moving forward on this path to the enlightenment that you've been asking for. So many times we are held back because if I acknowledge that I am experiencing a spiritual phenomena, I'll call it that I've never experienced before, that is something wrong with me. I can't go to this person and ask them about it because then they'll label me as something. Okay. And in order for me to actually be free to be who I am, I have to leave those limiting negative thoughts behind. Otherwise, I relinquish the growth that all of my life's experiences in that 3D world has walked me towards, to challenge, to get a different perspective on. When we are in the process of moving from 4D to 5D, which we're going to term as a spiritual awakening, there is no going back. You can't go back and unring the bell. You can't go back and say, oh, you know what? I really didn't mean that. And I have had the experience of talking to people who started out on the journey and got, through fear, wanted to turn around and go back. What we understand, even if we will move according to what is taught in a Christian environment, and again, I am a student of Scripture, and so in finding out, again, part of my challenging, limiting beliefs and ideas was to line up who I know that I am, innately, that I know who I am, and the experiences that I had before I even knew they were an experience. Okay. I was speaking with someone very near and dear to me, and we were talking about the fact that sometimes you have experienced a thing before you ever knew it was a thing. So by the time you find out it's a thing, it's like, oh my God, that was a thing. And I experienced that before I ever knew that it was a thing. And if that is cryptic, then I'll put it this way. If you know, you know. So being able to just be who you are, to be able to be who you were before you even knew it was a thing, is where you need to, or where you can attempt to return to. It's a place of innocence. It's a place without fear many times. And it is a place where your higher self, your spirit man, is trying to get you to, in order to redirect your path, in order to get you to that place that you've been asking to go. But as long as we're held in fear, we're not able to move forward into 5D. And you can't unring the bell in 4D. And many times people just abandon the growth, the development, the new understanding that they're getting in order to just sit in the same place that they're in, and thereby not accomplish, not receive, not grow, and never gain the value of the wisdom that creates the diamond of your life. So, what are you saying to me, Dr. Anita? I'm saying when you begin to awaken, you have awakened. Whether you continue to pursue the knowledge on this new level that you're receiving is another issue. Whether you decide that you're going to stay at the initial place of awakening and you're never going to grow. Scripture says it this way. It says that you should have been able to teach, but you're still going back to the first principles of what you learned because you never grew up. It tells us that above everything, love is supposed to be preeminent. When love is preeminent in your life, when you're moving from your heart, when you're allowing your heart to speak through your mouth, when you're receiving the love of God, Creator, Source, the universe, and being love, meaning a high vibration of being, moving yourself up to where you're not fearful, you're not ashamed, you're not feeling guilt, you're not any of those more negative signpost of energy that's in motion. When you move yourself up to a place of love and joy and peace and enlightenment, you're able to change situations in your life that may have held you back, or you're able to realize how you are supposed to function in this world, in this 3D world. And it's also to understand that there is no one-time spiritual awakening. You will be moving from back to the 3D world, the everyday life with its challenges and frustrations and all that goes along with it, and all of a sudden have an understanding of, that doesn't seem right. And you begin to challenge that nudge. And as you challenge that nudge, you're able to look at your own life and correct some limiting beliefs and behaviors that you've had that leads you to a different level of spiritual development and growth and spiritual awakening in that fifth dimension, that 5D, to move along on that path until you come to another place in this 3D world that causes you to say, that's not right. And as you think that, you begin to challenge those limiting beliefs and ideas until you come to a place of recognition that takes you to another level of spiritual growth and development. And that is what we go through over and over and over in this life. But it's learning to use and to put in place the signposts that we're getting, the nudges that we're getting in our physical man, in our little spiritual receiver in our body that says, what is that I feel? So that I can go back and challenge that feeling, that emotion, that energy in motion, so that I can see the basis and foundation and the root from which that comes, so that I can move to a different level of understanding in that particular area of life. That cycle goes on over and over and over and over and over until we eventually transition from this 3D world into a completely, and I know as I am known in Scripture. So understand that we are on a continuing journey. We will continue on this path as we grow and develop, as we outgrow even the initial spiritual understanding that we have, as it is built and added to, so that we have even more information from which to be led and guided by that spirit which is greater than we are. The downloaded information that we get that helps us to bring into fruition the gifts that we have, being able to hear and be able to translate into the book that you want to write, or the song that you have in your heart, or the area of service to others, as in healing. Those things will continue as long as you allow them to, as long as you're ready to grow and move forward in a new understanding, moving from a 4D to a 5D spiritual awakening. If you haven't done so, please get your Diamond Journey journal and make a commitment to move forward in this thing that we're doing right now. It's a great time to start. You're invited to join me on NoomVibe on FanBase, and please visit my website at www.DrAnitaMc.com. That's DrAnitaMc.com. Join me next week for another diamond moment.